Welcome to my anime recap. Like and subscribe for more. Within Shinto Teito, the capital of the nation of Japan, a 19-year-old virgin boy with no drip named Sahashi Minato faces disappointment yet again as he fails the university entrance exam. After informing his MILF of a mother of the results, he walks home, disheartened. Along the way, he notices an electronic news display announcing that the powerful MBI Corporation has acquired 80% of the city's stock market, prompting Minato to wonder what's going on. Reflecting on his second failure, he begins to lose hope, thinking that at this rate, even getting his banana wet feels impossible. Just then, fate intervenes, literally crashing into him. A mysterious girl falls from the sky and lands directly on top of him. She's being chased by two others who attack her with lightning, forcing her to flee while still clinging tightly to a very confused Minato. Later, Minato wakes up in his apartment, shocked to find the same girl, Musubi, beside him. Startled, he jumps back as she begins undressing, triggering a double nosebleed from embarrassment. Trying to compose himself, he waits outside and flusters further as the realization hits. He's just seen real melons, undressed. Once outside, Musubi formally introduces herself and apologizes for dragging him into her situation. Before long, she collapses from hunger and Minato buys her some fast food. Grateful, she thanks him and continues eating, while he wonders what kind of bizarre situation he's gotten himself into. Musubi explains that she has nowhere else to go, although Minato notes that his apartment doesn't allow cohabitation or relationships. He hesitates to send her away. Curious about the earlier attack, he questions her, and she suddenly asks if he'll become her ashikabi. Confused, Minato asks what that means. Musubi tells him it refers to someone deeply important to her, someone she's been searching for, someone she wants to help soar higher. Then without warning, she grabs his hands and places them on her chest. Their conversation is interrupted by the landlord, who scolds Minato for having a woman in his apartment. Embarrassed, he awkwardly tries to explain the situation, and begins to teach Musubi the meaning of modesty. After having lunch at Skyland, Musubi heads to the market to buy groceries for dinner, while Minato makes his way to the bank. On his way there, he's unknowingly spotted by the twins, Hikari and Hibiki. Not long after, Musubi comes running up to him, and the twins take notice, realizing that if she's still with a man, she hasn't undergone emergence yet. Without warning, the twins launch an attack. Minato instinctively steps in front of Musubi to shield her, and together they flee through the city, dodging bolts of lightning. He finally carries her into a quiet alley and sets her down, but something's wrong. Musubi looks flushed and feverish, her skin bright red. Suddenly, she pulls him close and kisses him. That kiss triggers what's known as the winging process, officially marking Minato as her ashikabi. In an instant, Musubi is surrounded by radiant light as her powers awaken. The twins halt their assault, recognizing the transformation. Now fully emerged, Musubi's strength surges, and she becomes fiercely protective of Minato. The twins ominously hint at what's to come, a brutal, city-wide survival game, which they call the Hunger Games, or rather, the Sakurai Plan. When Minato asks what's really going on, Musubi finally tells him she's a Sakurai, but that doesn't really answer his question. Later, back at Minato's apartment, Musubi is busy cooking dinner. Meanwhile, Minato phones his younger sister Yukari to ask if she can bring over some clothes for Musubi. Just then, the TV flickers on by itself, despite being turned off. On the screen appears Hiroto Minaka, the eccentric and enigmatic president of MBI, who also happens to be the professor behind the Sakurai. Speaking directly to Minato, Minaka welcomes him to the Sakurai Plan, a grand, secretive project that Minato and Musubi are now part of. He explains that Sakurai are alien beings introduced into the city as part of his scheme, and they must battle one another with their ashikabi partners. The emergence process binds Sakurai to their ashikabi, and victory means ascending to a higher sky. But there's a catch. Because of the plan's top secret nature, if Minato talks about it to anyone outside the game, MBI will go after him with full force. Just as Minato starts to panic, thinking he might have already broken the rules, there's a knock at the door. An MBI agent arrives, but to his relief, it's only a routine visit to drop off official clothes for Musubi. Reassured, Minato watches Musubi as she continues preparing dinner. The weight of what lies ahead starts to sink in, but so does the bond they've begun to share. If Musubi wins, they'll rise to the skies together. The landlord eventually discovers Musubi staying in Minato's apartment and promptly evicts them from the complex. After being turned away by 30 different leasing offices, each one rejecting them either due to Minato's complete lack of income or his repeated failure of the university entrance exam, they find themselves with nowhere to go. Cold, drenched, and homeless in the rain, Minato begins to question why Musubi chose someone like him to be her ashikabi, but Musubi gently reassures him she has no regrets. To her, Minato is special just as he is, and that alone makes him worthy in her eyes. A girl cries while Musubi and Minato are falling from the sky. Musubi yells that she doesn't know how to land, and the two crash through the roof of a house. As the dust settles, Minato checks on Musubi, who apologizes for the rough landing. A surprised landlady appears, asking who they are. Minato apologizes and explains vaguely, trying to hide the truth about the Sakurai. Another man arrives, suspicious but lets it go when Minato nervously says they were swept away by the wind. Musubi then appears in a kimono, asking how she looks, and Minato compliments her. He asks the landlady, Miya Asama, for clothes, and she warmly offers a tracksuit that belonged to her late husband. Minato and Musubi introduce themselves properly, and they all sit down for dinner. Another girl, Uzumi, casually walks in wearing only underwear, and Miya scolds her. During dinner, Minato learns this place is a boarding house. He pleads with Miya to let them stay, explaining they've been kicked out and have nowhere to go. Miya smiles and agrees, saying her husband built this house to shelter anyone in need. Meanwhile, Homura, the mysterious figure from earlier, warns Miya that she might be making a mistake, but she believes their arrival is fate. Homura heads outside and takes a call from someone named Takami. After a brief exchange, he says he'll keep an eye on things, hinting that trouble may be approaching. Back inside, Minato calls his mom to let her know he's moved. She's immediately suspicious, asking why he suddenly changed apartments. Minato tries to explain that it's cheaper here, but his mom isn't buying it. She says she'll only cover half the rent until he passes his entrance exams, then abruptly hangs up, saying she's busy. Still processing the call, Minato sits down, only for Musubi to walk out of the bath completely naked, casually announcing she's out of shampoo. Minato freezes in shock as she slips and her cannons fall right on top of him. Elsewhere in the city, a mysterious girl watches someone from the shadows, muttering about being out late for the sake of the Sakurai. A shady man approaches another girl, creepily saying it's dangerous alone at night and hinting at adding her to his collection. Back at the boarding house, Minato's younger sister Yukari arrives with the clothes he requested. He's surprised she came in person, and she explains she enrolled in a nearby college. Minato is stunned, and Yukari admits she didn't have the courage to tell him earlier, especially after his exam failures. She also mentions their mom is visiting the city soon. When Musubi walks in, Yukari quickly guesses the clothes were for her. Musubi cheerfully introduces herself. Yukari, smiling, says they should hang out sometime. Later, Miya welcomes Minato and Musubi to room 202. Kagari prepares to leave for work, and Miya reminds him about dinner. As Musubi heads to the bath, she finds Uzume already inside, who casually greets her as the new tenant. Minato sits quietly on the porch, deep in thought, still trying to process how they managed to survive such a high fall. His eyes land on a nearby tree, and he assumes it must have helped soften their landing. As he rests his hand on it, a strange vision flashes before him. A young girl appears, seemingly trapped inside the tree, softly calling out for help. Meanwhile, in the bath, Musubi and Uzume strike up a light conversation, but the moment Uzume spots the Sakurai crest on Musubi, she realizes what she is. Musubi eagerly introduces herself as Sakurai number 88 and immediately challenges Uzume to a fight, excited for her first real battle. But Uzume, not interested in fighting, declines. Back outside, Minato pulls his hand away from the tree, remembering that same girl appearing during their fall. Just then, Uzume storms out, irritated, and asks if he's Musubi's ashikabi. She warns him to keep her under control. She's not up for any nonsense. When she clings to him, Musubi snaps and charges forward, ready to fight, but Miya appears and swiftly puts an end to it, gently bunking Musubi and firmly stating that fighting isn't allowed in her house. Musubi backs off, apologizing, while Uzume mutters that Miya's scary when mad. Elsewhere, Homura confronts a cocky Sakurai girl in an alley. She tries to provoke him, but he defeats her effortlessly, telling her to stop wasting time and find an ashikabi. Furious, she screams she'd rather die than bond with someone like him. Back by the tree, Minato spots the mysterious girl again, now perched nervously on a branch. She introduces herself as Kusano. When she jumps, he catches her, but before he can say more, she suddenly disappears. Musubi notices Minato's troubled expression and gently asks if he had a bad dream. Minato nods, admitting it was strange and unsettling. Meanwhile, Homura stands watch in the night, reporting that the greenstone has been sealed and warns that someone dangerous might come for it next. Elsewhere, Kusano is playing with her stuffed animals when a group of scientists enter, telling her it's time to return to the lab. Frightened and confused, Kusano is promised she'll see her ashikabi again if she cooperates. Suddenly, two intruders burst in and violently attack the researchers. As one approaches Kusano, she panics and unleashes a massive burst of energy, disappearing and sealing herself away in a forest. Minato wakes up groggy, still unsettled. Musubi greets him enthusiastically, wearing revealing clothes. Flustered, Minato asks why, and she says the outfit doesn't restrict her movements. They're interrupted by a sharp sound and rush outside, finding Mia gracefully practicing sword strikes. Later, Uzumi asks Mia about lunch, prompting Minato to remember. Today's his first day at work. At the office, he awkwardly fumbles through tasks until lunch. Opening his bento, he praises Mia's cooking. A nearby guy eyes the food hungrily, and Minato politely offers him a bite. The man happily eats and reveals he's a 6th-year student. Suddenly, a woman, Hikari, appears and slaps him, scolding him for freeloading. Minato realizes she's the lightning user he met before and shouts in recognition, accidentally spilling his lunch. Hikari offers him bread, as Seo introduces himself as another ashikabi. Homura learns that all ashikabi have been alerted. The first to reach the Arboretum will claim the green girl. He agrees to intervene. At work, Seo asks Minato if he got the message, but Minato is clueless. Their boss soon announces early dismissal due to an evacuation near the Arboretum. Seo suggests they check it out. Back at the Izumo Inn, Musubi senses danger. Minato is late and left his phone. She tells Mia she's going to find him. Mia blesses her with a charm, silently praying for Minato's safety. Meanwhile, Minato trudges along with Seo, frustrated by the day's chaos. Seo jokes they've entered the forest, but are now lost. Suddenly, Kusano appears, pointing silently into the distance. As they follow her lead, Seo flirts, but then turns serious, revealing some ashikabi use a cruel method called emergence to awaken Sakurai without consent. Minato is disturbed by this and vows to protect Kusano. Elsewhere, Homura confronts Sakurai number 43, Yomi, who intends to claim Kusano. Yomi's companion, a discarded Sakurai, steps up to fight instead. Musubi briefly appears, mistaking the figure for Homura. Meanwhile, Kusano is cornered by Yomi, who mocks her innocence. Feeling danger, Minato suddenly rushes toward the scene. He arrives just in time and pulls Yomi away, protecting Kusano. Yomi yells at him, accusing him of being a pervert and demanding he unhand her. Just then, Seo and his Sakurai arrive, and both Yomi and Minato are hit by a jolt of electricity. Minato cries out in disbelief, asking why they zapped him too. Yomi insults Hikari and Hibiki, calling them and their ashikabi useless. Hikari fires back, saying at least her ashikabi isn't a snob wrapped in money and ego. Meanwhile, Minato reaches Kusano and holds her gently, relieved to have found her. She faints in his arms. Yomi shouts that Minato has no right to touch another master's Sakurai and moves to attack, but Musubi arrives just in time. Calmly, she grabs Yomi's weapon mid-swing, saying such things shouldn't be waved around recklessly, and promptly breaks it with her bare hands, enraging Yomi. Musubi hands Minato his phone, saying he forgot it at home. He thanks her, surprised she came all this way. Then the fight erupts. Yomi slashes at Musubi, tearing her outfit and taunting her, saying her ashikabi is weak and so is she. But Musubi fights back fiercely, declaring Yomi could never understand someone like Minato, who leads with kindness. With a final strike, Musubi shreds Yomi's clothes in return and knocks her out cold. Minato rushes to her, asking if she's hurt. Musubi grins and assures him she's perfectly fine, then asks about Kusano. Meanwhile, Homura continues a standoff with the discarded Sakurai, but a car suddenly pulls up. A commanding voice calls out that the fight is over. They're to fall back. With Yomi's link severed, there's no point in continuing. Back at the Izumo Inn, Minato and Musubi return home with Kusano. Mia eyes Musubi's tattered clothes and raises an eyebrow, asking what happened. When she notices Kusano, she questions who the little girl is. Minato quickly improvises, saying Kusano is a distant relative he's been asked to look after. Kusano stirs awake and softly says she's hungry. Mia smiles and says she'll prepare dinner. Later that evening, Minato and Kusano sit outside under the same tree where they met. He reflects aloud on how strange it is that he survived such a fall and found her again in the same place. Kusano smiles and says she asked the tree to protect him. Touched, Minato thanks her. Then suddenly, Kusano leans in and asks him to become her ashikabi, and kisses him. Her Sakurai crest glows brightly, And with that, Kusano officially becomes Minato's second Sekirai. A mysterious girl touches a tree, whispering that the person she's searching for was there. Meanwhile, two women drive through the city, one in a luxury car, teasing the other for the extravagance. The driver says she's fulfilling a promise to make amends, and their conversation turns to Sekirai number 108. The driver reassures her that the girl is doing fine, though the landlady at her place is a bit scary. The passenger says she doesn't need to hear more about the Ashikabi. She already knows him better than anyone. Elsewhere, a woman monitoring Minato remarks that he may seem like an academic failure, but he's already contracted 2 Sekirai. Calling him interesting, back at Izumo Inn, Minato leaves for work, wished well by Miya and Musubi. On his way, he sees a report about MBI destroying mutated plants in the Arboretum. Concerned, he checks on Kusano, who bursts into tears, saying her friend Shichan took away the plants she had raised. She claims the tree told her this. Minato connects her words to the news report. Kusano says Shichan's powers oppose hers and asks what to do. Minato comforts her, promising she's not alone anymore. At work, Minato wonders where Seo is, only to learn he quit. Later at home, Miya trains Musubi as Kusano watches. Uzume jokes with Kusano, and Miya critiques Musubi's fighting. Minato returns, still thinking about Seo, only to find him already at the inn. Miya explains Seo was her husband's best friend. Seo jokes with Kusano and gets instantly punched by Miya. Soon after, his Sekirai arrives, beats him up for embarrassing her, and leaves Minato wondering who Seo truly is. In the bath, Musubi and Uzume relax after a long soak. Musubi groans that she feels like a boiled potato, and Uzume teases her. It was Musubi's idea to have a bath endurance contest. As they get up to leave, Musubi notices a scar on Uzume's back and gently asks about her Ashikabi. Uzume dodges the question, calling it a secret. When Musubi asks if she feels lonely, Uzume quietly admits that she does. She longs to be with her Ashikabi, but says fate hasn't been kind, though she's thankful they still exist in the same world. That night, Kusano heads to the bath, but suddenly senses someone behind her and panics, running to Minato's room for safety. The next morning, rumors of a ghost spread. Miya teases Kusano, while Minato explains he searched everywhere and found nothing. Kusano insists she saw a girl with glasses. Miya dismisses it as a dream. There are no ghosts at her inn. Later, Miya leaves to visit her late husband's grave, asking Minato to watch the house. For lunch, Musubi volunteers to cook, and Kusano joins in while Uzume leaves it to them. When they appear in aprons, Musubi shyly asks Minato how they look. Prompted by Uzume, she calls him Master, making Minato blush. He compliments them all, and they enjoy the meal together. Meanwhile, a mysterious girl watches Minato from afar, heart racing. Miya walks home as a new girl approaches Izumo Inn and bumps into a polite man, the same one Kusano saw before. A flashback showed Minato once rushing to protect Kusano as a helicopter hovered overhead. Fearing he might lose her, he remembered what Musubi had told him. If a Sekirai loses her crest, she's separated from her Ashikabi. That truth weighed heavily on him. If Musubi were to lose, he could lose her forever. But she had promised she'd never let that happen. Not for something as trivial as a battle, but because she genuinely loved him. As Miya arrived, Musubi stepped away to speak with her. Elsewhere, the mysterious girl watching Minato fumed with jealousy, muttering that the other girl was getting too close, and now her own crest had begun to burn. Later, Miya asked a Musubi to help with some shopping, and she happily agreed. At the market, a new girl appeared, her glare fierce as she declared, "Number 88, Musubi, you are now my enemy." Unaware of the danger, Musubi kept browsing until a sudden aerial strike forced her to dodge. Back at the inn, Minato comforted Kusano. Miya invited him to bathe and offered to take Kusano with her. In the bathroom, Minato grew uneasy, wondering why Musubi hadn't returned, but Miya calmly said she was just training. Then someone walked in. Assuming it was Musubi, Minato said he didn't need help, but when he turned, he was shocked to see a stranger. Meanwhile, the girl who had rescued Shichan sat nearby, uncertain why she'd brought him home. Back at the bath, the mysterious girl undressed and entered the water, flustering Minato, just as Musubi burst in, shouting, "What is going on here?" Minato is stunned to find a mysterious girl joining him in the bath. She introduces herself confidently as Sekirai number 2, Matsu. Meanwhile, Musubi returns to Izumo Inn and is greeted by Madya, who immediately notices her torn clothes. Musubi explains that something strange fell from the sky while she was shopping. Maya checks if she's hurt, but Musubi says she's fine, though she forgot to buy radish. As she turns to leave again, Mia insists she take a bath instead. Back in the bathroom, Minato is still reeling and asks how Matsu knows so much about him. She casually says she knows he's a weakling with a large meat stick and her destined ashikabi. Just then, Musubi bursts in, offering to scrub Minato's back, only to find Matsu already there. The moment Matsu sees her, she declares Musubi her enemy and activates a trap, trapping her in an energy barrier. She then turns back to Minato, claiming all obstacles are now cleared. But Mia's ominous voice interrupts, warning of suspicious sounds in the bath. She enters, reminding Minato of the house rule, no funny business in the bathroom. The scene shifts to Mia revealing that Matsu lives secretly in room 201. She opens a hidden door, and Minato realizes Matsu must have been the ghost Kusano saw. Matsu admits she's been hiding after defecting from MBI, which is still hunting her. Mia confirms her late husband designed the secret room and also left MBI. She apologizes for not telling Minato sooner, but he assures her it's alright. Mia then scolds Matsu for the trouble, and Matsu quickly apologizes. Elsewhere, a failed Sakurai retreats, frustrated after losing her target. Homura appears and confronts her, unfazed by her threats. A fierce battle breaks out, and Homura wins easily. Meanwhile, Minato's sister Yukari watches Shina and thinks he's absurdly handsome. Homura reappears, weakened from overusing his powers, frustrated by his limits and considering calling for help. Just then, Tsukiyomi storms in, dousing him with cold water and scolding him for acting like a coward. She reminds him she vowed to defeat him herself. Homura taunts her for still not having an ashikabi, noting that without one, a Sakurai can't unlock her full strength. Tsukiyomi snaps that she despises ashikabi, though lately she's felt an unfamiliar burning in her chest. Homura tells her it's a sign. She's drawn to her destined ashikabi. Tsukiyomi furiously declares she'll crush him if he ever shows up. Back at Izumo Inn, Minato, lost in thought about Musubi, is surprised when Matsu enters instead. She claims she forgot something and suddenly kisses him, forming her Sakurai bond. She teases him about running experiments together under the moonlight, but Mia arrives with her usual terrifying aura, declaring that sneaking around at night is forbidden. As punishment, both Matsu and Minato will skip breakfast. Minato protests, but Mia ignores him. Meanwhile, at a clock tower, Hiroto Minaka discusses with his colleague that over 90% of the Sakurais have now emerged. The next morning, Minato wonders how he'll survive if more Sakurai keep appearing. Matsu pops in demanding a good morning kiss, but ends up kissing a stunned Musubi instead. At breakfast, Matsu happily eats with everyone. Minato notices Uzume missing, and Mia says she likely worked late. He's surprised to learn Uzume has a job. Then, Mia feeds Homura, who can't use chopsticks, while Minato notices a burn on his hand. Homura shrugs it off, saying it's nothing compared to his past. While Minato naps, he dreams of a mysterious girl with piercing eyes who claims she's finally found him, just so she can kill him. He jolts awake, shaken, and finds Kusano sleeping peacefully beside him, whispering an apology. He can't shake the eerie feeling. Curious and concerned, he seeks out Matsu to get some answers, especially about the Sakurai plan. Matsu explains that 108 Sakurai were released into the city, each destined to bond with an ashikabi. Once they've emerged, they must fight until only one remains. It's all a twisted survival game, orchestrated by Hiroto Minaka. With most Sakurai now awakened, the battle royale is about to begin. Minato says he doesn't care about any reward. He just wants to protect his Sakurai. Matsu encourages him, saying he's special. He even made her emerge. She reminds him to believe in himself. Minato then describes the girl from his dream. Black hair, terrifying eyes, full of murderous intent. Matsu realizes it might be Tsukiyomi, Sakurai number 9, a powerful water user who absolutely loathes ashikabi. Musubi reassures Minato, vowing to protect him, while Minato, now fired up, decides to go find Tsukiyomi and convince her to join their team. Matsu is horrified, warning that Tsukiyomi would tear him apart, but agrees to help. Her plan, use Minato as bait. Kusano tags along to protect him. While walking, Minato is saved from a cat attack by Kusano, and they run into Seo, who mentions he built Matsu's secret room. Just then, Seo's Sakurai rush in with urgent news. Before anyone can react, Tsukiyomi crashes down from above. She glares at Minato, declaring their meeting fate, but she won't let him use her. Instead, she'll kill him first. Minato desperately tries to reason with Tsukiyomi, who's far from ready to talk. She roars that she'll only listen after killing him. Just as she unleashes a water attack, Kusano leaps in front of Minato, shielding him and begging her not to hurt him. Minato stops Kusano gently, saying he wants Tsukiyumi on their side. He believes in her. That only infuriates Tsukiyumi more, accusing him of manipulating a child and deciding he has to be eliminated. She hits Minato with a powerful blast, scoffing that he's not even worth her full strength. But Minato stands his ground and calmly says it again. He wants her to be his Sakurai. Tsukiyumi is momentarily stunned by the boldness, then snaps that now she'll kill him for real. Watching from afar, the twin Sakurai remark this might be Minato's end. Tsukiyumi readies another strike, but Minato doesn't back down, insisting he'll keep trying no matter how many times she attacks. Before she can hit again, the twins drop in, calling her their enemy. Tsukiyumi glares, unbothered, but they quickly kiss their ashikabi, triggering their full emergence and releasing a powerful combo strike. Tsukiyumi dodges, but the blast nearly hits Minato, until someone shields him. Back at the inn, Matsu senses the danger and notifies Musubi, who rushes out immediately. Minato looks at Tsukiyumi, asking if she's okay. She's shocked he took the hit for her. The twins attack again, but Tsukiyumi evades and lets their blast hit Seiyo, who just arrived. Furious, Seiyo grabs Tsukiyumi, threatening to make her his Sakurai. Paralyzed, Tsukiyumi screams inwardly. She doesn't want this. She wants Minato. Minato begs Seiyo to stop saying she's his. Seiyo steps back, but his Sakurai yell at him for breaking their deal. Tsukiyumi steps up to Minato and tells him bluntly, it's time he takes responsibility. Confused, Minato asks what she means, and she reminds him he called her his Sakurai. Minato confirms it, and Tsukiyumi smiles softly, saying since he's already protected her once, he must continue to shield her with his body. She admits he's weak, but his heart is strong. Then with a gentler tone, she asks his name. Minato introduces himself and admits he doesn't know much about her, but her appearance in his dreams felt like fate. Tsukiyumi agrees, saying something about him soothes her. Then, straight-faced, she declares she's ready to marry him. Minato is stunned, but she insists it's natural. After all, he's the one who asked her to be his Sakurai. As the bond deepens, she places her heart in his hands, and with that, they emerge. In her heart, she quietly wonders what this strange, warm feeling is. Just then, Kusano returns. Tsukiyumi notices the child is also a Sakurai, but calmly accepts it, while still insisting she's his main side chick. Suddenly, Musubi arrives and hugs Minato, relieved he's safe. With the battle finally over, Minato introduces Tsukiyumi to the group, but when she finds out he already has 3 other Sakurai, she's furious. Matsu pops her head out, confused by the noise. Minato sheepishly admits he now has 4. Tsukiyumi blasts him with water. Back home, Mia wonders where everyone is. Homura jokes she sounds like their mom, until Mia glares. Minato and the girls arrive. Tsukiyumi demands to know who Mia is, and Mia asks the same. Tsukiyumi boldly says she's Minato's wife. Minato denies it, but she insists the wedding already happened. Musubi and Kusano claim their wives too. Matsu laughs from afar, and Tsukiyumi challenges them all to a duel, until Mia steps in. Instantly, Tsukiyumi folds. Minato apologizes, and Mia calmly asks if he understands the Sakurai plan. When he asks how she knows, she simply smiles. Someone told her. Mia gently tells Tsukiyumi that her late husband once worked for MBI's research department, and then warmly welcomes her to the Izumo Inn. Tsukiyumi proudly declares she's Minato's wife and says it's a pleasure to meet her. Meanwhile, Homura walks off alone, only for Matsu to follow him, pointing out his burn marks and suggesting he should emerge to recover and grow stronger. Homura declines, saying he's not looking to become anyone's Sakurai. He's just a defective piece with one mission, to bring down the man who gave him these scars. Before leaving, he tells her to let Mia know he's skipping dinner due to work. Elsewhere, Yukari wakes up, shocked that she spent the whole night with Sheena at her place. She's never been alone with another person like that. When Sheena steps out after his shower to thank her, she blushes, and silently swears never to mention this to her mom or brother. She tells Sheena he needs to change, but admits she has no boys' clothes. Sheena, meanwhile, vows to fight if those guys return. Yukari smirks. She's already got a plan. Back at the inn, Tsukiyumi asks if Matsu is also Minato's Sakurai. Matsu immediately says yes and formally introduces herself. Uzume walks in and teases that Minato's racking them up fast. Tsukiyumi questions if Uzume is one too, and when Minato dodges, she introduces herself anyway. Uzume warns her, the competition's real. Chaos follows, especially when Musubi tries to feed Minato, and Kusano ends up doing it instead, enraging Tsukiyumi. Later, in the bath, Tsukiyumi wonders if one should bathe, fall in love, and then sleep together in that order. Meanwhile, Kusano asks Minato who he likes most. He says he loves all of them, and Kusano beams, declaring she'll marry him when she grows up. Minaka theatrically declares that the day has finally come. Takami, clearly done with his antics, scolds him for being shameless and tells him to fear God at least once in his life. But Minaka, unfazed and ever dramatic, claims that everything began the moment he became the game master. We're taken into a flashback where Minaka and Takami arrive at the uncharted Shinto Teito Island. After a long, chaotic journey, Minaka passionately proclaims that a true man never backs down from a daring adventure. His treasure hunt is interrupted by a rock to the head, courtesy of Takami, who warns him that this place is undocumented and dangerous. But Minaka climbs higher, spots something strange, and calls Takami over. Together, they enter a mysterious chamber and find something shocking: a girl. Minaka, stunned, mutters that this definitely wasn't what he expected. Back in the present, Minato wakes up thinking about last night's chaos. Tsukumi had fiercely claimed she was the only wife allowed to sleep beside him, with Musubi loudly disagreeing. Minato sighs, knowing this was bound to happen. He tries sneaking Kusano out to sleep peacefully in Miya's room, but Tsukumi blocks the way, still suspicious. Kusano also doesn't want to leave him. Matsu watches from a distance, giggling, while Minato warns her to go back before Miya catches her again. Matsu just shrugs, enjoying the drama. Miya then enters, radiating authority, and sternly reminds Minato that improper relationships are not allowed in her inn. Minato hurriedly explains that nothing happened. Miya then announces the finalized room arrangements. Kusano will sleep with her, and Musubi and Tsukiyomi will share a room. Both girls protest, claiming to be Minato's one true wife, but Miya shuts them down with a single icy glare. Tsukiyomi sulks in the corner, declaring Miya tore her from her rightful place. Later, Miya heads out for groceries and asks the girls to water the garden. Musubi's eager and even says it'll be fun with Tsukiyomi. Overhearing, Tsukiyomi scoffs that she's not a water-sprinkling peasant and storms off. That's when a mysterious man, Kagari, passes by, amused by her tantrum. Tsukiyomi glares and says he looks familiar. He brushes it off. Elsewhere, a black sakiri is dropped off near the inn. At the garden, Musubi warns Kusano not to play too roughly with water, but ends up accidentally soaking the black sakurai, Karasuba, with the hose. Shocked, Musubi apologizes, and Karasuba, smiling, says Musubi hasn't changed. When asked why she's there, Karasuba says she came after hearing about Musubi. Later in Musubi's room, Musubi gives her dry clothes and apologizes again. Karasuba nonchalantly asks if Minato is her ashikabi. Musubi confirms it, and Karasuba also shows her crest, revealing she's already emerged. She then brings up Musubi's battle with number 43, which Musubi admits to winning. Karasuba says she came to discuss an old promise between them, and Musubi nods, remembering it clearly. Minato brings snacks to Karasuba, but is stopped by Matsu, who panics after realizing the guest is none other than Karasuba. Number 4, the infamous Black Sakurai. Matsu hides, terrified, while Karasuba casually thanks them for the tea and leaves. Musubi wants her to stay, but Karasuba declines. Homura observes silently, recognizing her too. Suddenly, a citywide announcement from Hiroto Minaka airs on TV. He declares that Tokyo has been sealed off and urges cooperation, marking the start of level 2 of the Sakurai plan. Matsu explains to Minato that things are escalating. Tokyo has become a battleground. Meanwhile, Karasuba bumps into Miya outside. The mood turns icy. Karasuba mocks Miya for being unarmed, while Miya coldly warns her not to return to Izumo Inn. Their tense exchange ends with Karasuba declaring they'll meet as enemies next time. Later, Karasuba reunites with her ashikabi, who notes she seems pleased. Back at the inn, Minato worries, unsure what to do next. Musubi enters and confesses that she once made a promise to Karasuba that they would fight all out. She says she must win because losing Minato would hurt too much. Then she softly admits she really likes him. Elsewhere, Tsukiyomi fumes about the chaos and realizes her bond with Minato may have triggered the city's upheaval. She lashes out at anyone who dares cross her. Meanwhile, Shina wears a disguise, and Yukari cheers him on. Back home, Miya announces that whoever shops fastest will sit beside Minato. Tsukiyomi and Musubi sprint out. Miya assures Minato with a smile everything will be okay. A boy and a girl are seen fleeing from the disciplinary squad. Just when they think they're safe, a bandaged Sakurai appears, blocking their path. The girl, Kuno, identified as Sakurai number 95, freezes in terror, begging the boy, Haruka, to turn back, insisting that this woman is known as the Blue Sakurai number 104 and is too dangerous. They'll die if they push forward. Haruka listens and escapes with her, while Homura watches silently from afar. Back at Izumo Inn, Musubi and Kusano are playing as Tsukiyumi scolds them, reminding them they're supposed to clean the bathroom. Minato, distracted by Musubi in a swimsuit, gets caught staring at her perky lumps. Tsukiyumi teases him, claiming her mangoes are top tier too. Kusano innocently offers hers as well, leaving Minato mortified. Mia walks in, calling him a pervert, and tells everyone it's time for dinner. Minato heads to call Matsu and finds her deep in data. She reveals she's hacked into MBI's top secret files and discovered records of all emerged Sekirai, their ashikabi, and their battles. But there's something alarming. A Sekirai is breaking the rules by killing others instead of just defeating them. 2 more deaths have occurred recently, and the threat is growing. Meanwhile, Musubi checks on Uzume but finds her room empty. Uzume is shown silently crying beside Chiho, revealing her inner turmoil. Back at the inn, Minato laughs at Kusano, dressed in a mouse costume. Then he wonders why Uzume owns such outfits, realizing he knows very little about her. The mystery deepens as tensions rise. Mia gently teases Minato for being curious about Uzume's private life, saying all men are the same. Minato denies it, claiming he's not trying to pry into romance. Mia smiles and softens her tone, admitting she doesn't know Uzume very well either, but she's heard that everything Uzume does is for one person, someone she wants to see smile. Mia explains that Uzume has someone important who's been hospitalized for a long time, and while she doesn't know if that person is Uzume's ashikabi, their bond runs deep. As Mia and Minato prepare dinner, Musubi bursts in, followed by a grumbling Tsukiyumi, who's frustrated after losing again. Watching them, Minato reflects on the importance of Sekirai forming strong bonds. Meanwhile, Uzume, sitting with Chiho, prepares to leave. Chiho wakes up, notices Uzume's tears, and apologizes for not being able to do more as her ashikabi. Uzume reassures her that just being alive is enough. Back at the inn, Minato gathers the group and warns them about rogue Sekirai roaming the city. While he tries to be serious, Musubi and Tsukiyumi are already fired up about fighting. Matsu jokes about Minato's inability to control his warriors, brushing things off with a carefree attitude, much to his dismay. Later, Minato is deep in thought when Tsukiyumi enters and directly asks if he cares about her. Flustered, he says yes. Pleased, she says being worried isn't always bad. As he admires her strength and beauty, she catches him staring. He apologizes, but she smiles, saying there's no need. Minato quietly smiles, realizing he's never felt this warm, trusting feeling before, similar to what he feels with Musubi. Tsukiyumi notices and asks why he's smiling, but he brushes it off. As she leaves, Minato goes to close his door, but finds Musubi standing outside, startling him. She sweetly says she came to call him for dinner. As they walk, Minato feels uneasy, muttering that he hasn't done anything wrong, so why does his spine feel like it's tingling? Elsewhere, Matsu observes with amusement. Uzume appears and casually chats, but as she walks away, Matsu notices blood on her back. In the bath later, Uzume joins Musubi and Tsukiyumi. Musubi eagerly scrubs Uzume's back, and the girls relax together. Tsukiyumi asserts she's Minato's real wife, while Musubi protests. Uzume watches, smiling wistfully, and says she hopes they can stay like this. But Tsukiyumi reminds her that they'll eventually have to fight each other. Uzume nods quietly. Meanwhile, Yukari eats with Shina. When he mentions searching for his younger sister Kusano, Yukari vows to help, because she has a brother too. Yukari recalls how she used to cry as a child, and her brother always came to comfort her. Now, she calls him a crying loser, but believes Kusano is waiting for her brother, just like she once did. She and Shina agree to begin their search the next day. Meanwhile, Uzumi arrives at a hospital, where a man congratulates her on her latest mission, killing a Sekirai. She coldly tells him to skip the praise and to name her next target. He says it's number 95, Homura, warning her of his unusual powers. Uzume, unfazed, acknowledges that her ashikabi doesn't have much time left. Minato questions if someone's truly targeting them. Tsukiyumi, furious, declares she'll never forgive anyone who disrespects the sacred Sekirai battles. Then, without warning, she attacks Musubi, calling it a test. Musubi passes. Meanwhile, Haruka and Kuno are cornered by a Sekirai killer. Haruka refuses to leave Kuno, prompting the killer to prepare to strike. Kuno defends him, but it's not enough. Tsukuyomi and Musubi arrive just in time, demanding the killer's name, when a mysterious drunk beauty with a nice rack suddenly appears, grinning. Tsukuyomi and Musubi confront the Sekirai killer. Tsukuyomi launches a powerful water attack, but the mysterious beauty suddenly intervenes, forcing her to stop. Tsukuyomi, irritated, demands to know who she is. She calmly responds that she was just passing by and calls out the unfairness of a 2-on-1 fight. Tsukuyomi argues it's the killer who's unfair, not them. Musubi, eager to fight, is told to handle this battle alone while Tsukuyomi takes on the mysterious lady. Musubi politely introduces herself to Haruka and Kuno, but Kuno already feels defeated by Musubi's curvy body. Haruka explains they won't fight, not because of the Sekirai plan, but because now isn't the time. Tsukuyomi nearly defeats the killer, but the beauty intervenes again, drunkenly revealing that the killer Sekirai is with her. As they leave, she warns Tsukuyomi not to speak so freely to her, unless she's number 1 or the Game Master. Tsukuyomi is stunned to find out the mysterious beauty, Kazahana, is Sekirai number 03. Then, in a flash, she and the killer vanish. Musubi has also disappeared. Later, Kazahana talks with the killer, who admits she admired Kazahana but could never compare. The killer reveals herself to be Uzume, Sekirai number 10. Meanwhile, Minato worries at home until Matsu cheers him up, then accidentally flusters him by undressing for laundry. Matsu tries to take advantage of the quiet house and flirts with Minato, jokingly demanding he surrender for a scientific experiment. Just as Minato prepares to escape, Homura walks in, catching them in an awkward moment. Embarrassed, Minato insists it's not what it looks like and rushes out. Homura comments on Matsu's skimpy outfit, but she brushes it off, teasing him too. He coldly declines her advances, calling her perverted. When Homura asks for more medicine, Matsu refuses, warning it only masks the worsening symptoms. Homura admits this is a first for him, but when Matsu hints at what might be happening, he shuts her down. Meanwhile, Minato's doing laundry when Musubi suddenly falls from the sky and crashes into him. She apologizes, grabs his hand, and insists on introducing him to someone. They arrive at Minato's old apartment where they meet Kuno and Haruka. Haruka bluntly recalls Minato's rumored antics from when he lived there, leaving Minato flustered. Musubi proudly introduces him as her ashikabi, assuring them he will help. Minato, still confused, asks what's going on. Musubi explains she wants his help protecting Kuno and Haruka. Meanwhile, Tsukuyomi questions Matsu about Musubi's whereabouts and vents about the involvement of Sekirai number 95. Matsu suspects that the cloth-wrapped Sekirai is likely Uzume. Tsukuyomi scoffs, calling Kuno a coward, unworthy of being in the Sekirai plan. Matsu counters that not all battles are won through brute force. Sometimes, intelligence is key. Their argument escalates until Kusano steps in, begging them not to fight. When Matsu raises her device threateningly, both Tsukuyomi and Kusano quickly back down. Kusano then cheerfully suggests the three of them take a bath together to ease tensions. Meanwhile, Minato chats with Haruka, who complains about their landlord and the stress of studying. Minato learns Haruka is also aiming for Shito University after 2 failed attempts. Just like himself, the shared struggle creates a moment of connection. When Minato asks about his biggest problem, Haruka confesses he doesn't want to fight. His Sekirai, Kuno, is weak and only capable of screaming. He just wants to escape the Sekirai plan and leave the capital, but tight surveillance and constant MBI patrols make escape nearly impossible. Minato is stunned by the danger and apologizes for not realizing how serious things were. Haruka points out Minato's privilege of strong Sekirai, but Minato admits his own faults. Kuno then innocently reminds Haruka of their bond, causing him to awkwardly backtrack. Musubi and Minato head back home. Tsukuyomi and Kusano attack Minato for spending too much time alone with Musubi. Elsewhere, Kazahana and Uzume are seen stumbling. They arrive at Uzume's room to find Minato sleeping inside. In the morning, Minato wakes to find so many melons around him. Uzume and Kazahana awaken from Tsukuyomi's yelling. Miya calms the situation down, saying she knows Kazahana. A flashback occurs to Uzume's encounter with Kazahana, challenging her to a fight. Kazahana easily defeats Uzume. She acknowledges Uzume's motives and offers a deal. She'll let her go in exchange for a drink. Back in the present, Tsukuyomi is outraged at the idea of fleeing the capital, but Minato explains Haruka only wants to protect his weak Sekirai, Kuno. Matsu confirms their desire to escape and says it might be possible, if all of Minato's Sekirei work together. She warns it's dangerous and shows him a map of an offshore island, once explored by students who found ancient, unknown technology. Minato's hopeful, but overwhelmed. Musubi tells him it's time for dinner, and assures him that wishes can come true. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man informs the Black Sekirei that Blue encountered an Ashikabi Sekirei pair trying to escape, but spared them, finding them interesting. The Black Sekirei smirks, sensing fun ahead. A flashback of Kuno, lost and freezing in the city, lamenting that she hasn't found her Ashikabi and feeling utterly useless because she can't fight. Surrounded by hostile Sekirei, she narrowly escapes harm and breaks down in tears. Just then, Haruka finds her and offers warm food, gently caring for her. Touched by his kindness, Kuno grabs his scarf and declares him her Ashikabi. In the present, Kazahana fondly remarks on their love story. Haruka then asks Minato why Kazahana is with them, and Minato explains that she insisted on joining after overhearing their escape plan. Seo appears, annoyed by their early visit, and demands payment for helping. When Haruka is shocked, Seo retorts that nothing in life is free. To everyone's surprise, Minato calls Mia, and when Seo realizes who's on the line, he panics. Mia scolds him immediately, prompting a comical reaction. Meanwhile, Tsukiyomi questions Matsu about Minato's actions, still disbelieving he's helping people who can't fight. A quick scene shows Minato saying he'll support Kuno and Haruka no matter what. Matsu, touched by his resolve, agrees to help. Tsukiyomi, however, criticizes the plan and accuses Matsu of lacking conviction. Matsu calmly responds that her duty as a Sekirei is to support her Ashikabi, but Tsukiyomi insists a Sekirei's duty is to fight. Angry and frustrated, she storms off, calling Matsu no better than the ones trying to run away. The tension rises as ideologies begin to clash among Minato's team. Later, Tsukiyomi sits alone, deep in thought, when Mia approaches. Tsukiyomi admits she doesn't understand why Matsu and Musubi are so determined to help Kuno and Haruka. Mia gently tells her that it's not always about duty. Sometimes it's simply human to help those in need. Tsukiyomi insists that as Sekirei, their main duty is to fight, but Mia asks, wouldn't it be better if they could just escape and live peacefully with their Ashikabi? Tsukiyomi hesitates, then quietly admits that she feels jealous of number 95. Mia smiles knowingly and asks if she wants to grow stronger. Tsukiyomi says she does, not for herself, but for Minato. She wants to live her life with him and asks Mia not to tell him that. Mia agrees and tells her it's time to find out how strong she really is. Meanwhile, Seo lays out an escape plan. Teito has 4 exit routes: north, south, east, and west, but all intersect at Teito Tower. Minato already defeated Sekirei number 43, Yomi, who worked for the southern Ashikabi, Mikogami Hayato. The western zone is controlled by Kishi Sanada, and the eastern by someone Seo knows opposes the Sekirei project. Uzume, meanwhile, is threatened by a man who reminds her she has one last chance, or her Ashikabi's life is forfeit. Back with Seo, he warns the north is ruled by a terrifying man, Misin Izumo, but since he doesn't interfere unless provoked, the north might be their best escape. The river Aranka flows from there and leads out of Teito. Their plan? Cross the bridge. Despite MBI's checkpoints and satellites, Seo warns the group that MBI's satellites are armed with deadly lasers and will vaporize anyone detected. Minato quickly suggests that Matsu could hack the satellites. Haruka's impressed, and Seo agrees, saying that leaves only one threat: the elite guards and the Blue Sekirei, MBI's strongest enforcers. Musubi, without hesitation, volunteers to fight them. Seo sets the escape for the following night, stressing urgency. Haruka is surprised, but Seo says sooner is safer. When Kuno starts crying, blaming herself, Haruka comforts her, saying she belongs to him and he'll protect her. Kazahana, touched by their bond, smiles. Seo turns to Kazahana, questioning why she's helping. She casually says there's no reason. Seo grumbles that he regrets helping for free, but now they better escape and strike a blow to MBI. Matsu outlines the plan. She can hack the satellite for 1 hour. That's all the time they'll have to flee. Kazahana calls for a send-off party and everyone relaxes, except Minato. Haruka encourages him to enjoy the moment, reminding him this battle won't get easier. Minato steps out and finds Tsukiyomi, inviting her to join. She declines, hiding a small injury. She asks if Minato ever loved her since their marriage. Before he can answer, Matsu interrupts. Tsukiyomi, embarrassed, threatens him not to mention it again. Later, Tsukiyomi cools her head with cold water. The next morning, Miya and Homura chat. Homura admits he's been feeling off. Kusano later tells Tsukiyomi bluntly, if she can't support Minato, she doesn't deserve to be his wife. As the night falls, the group prepares for escape. Minato wonders if Tsukiyomi will join them, but confirms to Haruka he's all in. Haihan, Sekirai number 104, reports that several Sekiri and their Ashikabi are trying to escape through the mine in the north area, and that Red is already there. Karasuba, unfazed, notes that Red is having all the fun and allows Haihana to head over too. Her Ashikabi then asks if Karasuba was in the disciplinary squad even before being winged. She confirms, explaining that back then it was just her and one other. Number 8, Yume. When asked if Yume was stronger than the others, Karasuba admits she was, but adds with a chilling smile that she had always wanted to kill Yume herself. Meanwhile, on a rooftop, Kazahana stands with Homura, enjoying the night air. She remarks that it's a perfect night for romance. Homura, who's overseeing the escape, asks why she isn't helping. Kazahana says that's exactly why. She wants to see what that boy, Minato, will do. She's more interested in watching his growth. Elsewhere, Kusano faces a squad of guards. When they ask what she's doing out alone, she simply says she doesn't know. Realizing she's a Sekirai, the guards try to detain her, but Kusano uses her powers to entangle them with vines. Minato, watching from a distance, praises her. Haruka, visibly worried, asks if they're doing the right thing, but Minato insists there's no turning back now. Haruka is impressed by his resolve. At MBI, Takami reports that the satellite systems are down. Minaka, delighted, remarks that the north checkpoint is now under Sekirai control. Takami accuses him of knowing this would happen, but Minaka, ever the showman, replies that the game only becomes exciting when the pieces move on their own. Back at the safe house, Matsu grows uneasy. She senses something's wrong. MBI soldiers are advancing too quickly and in growing numbers. Alarmed, she tells everyone to evacuate immediately. When a soldier confronts Seo, his Sekiri zaps him and claims her aim slipped. Seo warns the group to stay alert, annoyed that his phone was destroyed. Minato decides to go back for Kusano. Matsu warns him of the danger. The disciplinary squad could kill him on sight. But Minato is determined. He made a promise and refuses to abandon her. Seeing his resolve, Matsu changes the plan. Minato will go forward while she handles rescuing Kusano herself. Matsu mounts her bike, determined to rescue Kusano. Tsukiyomi, watching from above, questions why she's leaving Villa Izumo when she always insisted she couldn't. Matsu responds that Minato is risking everything, and if he can take a chance, so can she. She speeds off. Elsewhere, Seo watches the chaos unfold, wondering if the others are safe now that the soldiers have flooded the area. He sighs, saying it's all in fate's hands. Meanwhile, Musubi asks Minato if Kusano will be alright. Minato, trusting Matsu's promise, says he believes in her completely. Kusano, sitting and crying, is soon found by Matsu, who rescues her and confirms her safety with Minato via phone. Though worried for her, Minato hears Matsu say she won't turn back. She's committed now. At Yukari's apartment, she and Shina wake to strange sounds. Looking out, Shina spots Kusano and confirms her identity. They rush outside to meet her. Back with Minato and his group, Haruka says they're almost free. Just one final step, but their path is suddenly blocked by the disciplinary squad. Haihane and Benetsubasa introduce themselves as Sekirai numbers 104 and 105. Musubi, Sekirai number 88, steps up to fight. The battle begins fiercely. Benetsubasa mocks Musubi for being the comeback type and claims even Black is monitoring her. Musubi doesn't understand but stands her ground. Their fight intensifies, with Musubi refusing to give up. Elsewhere, Tsukiyomi feels something stir in her heart. Miya appears beside her and gently reminds her, didn't she want to be strong enough to live happily with Minato? Kusano also realizes she wants to help, not because she understands everything, but because she wants to be Minato's wife too. Back in the fight, Musubi grabs Benetsubasa's leg and flings her away. But Benetsubasa recovers, enraged that Musubi faked weakness, and declares she'll stop holding back. The bridge collapses beneath Minato, and he nearly falls. Benetsubasa corners him, preparing to strike. Musubi jumps in, taking a brutal hit. Minato begs her to escape, but she refuses. She's a Sekirai, and she won't abandon her Ashikabi. As the battle rages on, Benetsubasa is able to land a powerful blow on Musubi. Musubi reaches her hand out to Minato, only to be hit again by Benetsubasa's final blow. Musubi's crest starts to disappear as Minato makes his way closer. Elsewhere, Tsukumi declares herself Minato's true wife before leaving to help. Meanwhile, Minato watches in horror as the crest completely disappears from Musubi's body. Haihane attacks Haruka. Kuno then sings with all her heart, confessing her love to Haruka. With his kiss, her powers awaken. Her song spreads, weakening Haihane and putting her to sleep. Benitsubasa is also affected, unable to move, but Kuno soon collapses. Haruka comforts her, calling her the most precious person in his life. Benitsubasa mocks them, saying she doesn't get it. Minato calmly replies, they did it all to protect someone they love. Just then, Tsukumi arrives and is shocked to see Musubi beaten. When Benitsubasa demands who she is, Tsukumi introduces herself as number 9 and warns them for hurting her friend. The battle resumes, and even though it's 2 against 1, Tsukumi holds her own. Homura, watching from a distance, notes that Minato may lose. Kazahana strolls off, saying she wants a front row view. As Tsukumi lands powerful blows, Benitsubasa is stunned by Minato's powerful Sekirai. Meanwhile, Minato feels useless and starts crying. Benitsubasa moves in to finish him, but Tsukumi tries to stop her, only to be intercepted by Haihan, who targets her while her attention is split. Elsewhere, Matsu can't reach Minato and worries. Shina is cornered by another Ashikabi and his 2 Sekirai, Mutsu and Akitsu. Yukari steps in, but Mutsu, the male Sekirai, attacks. Shina intervenes, shielding her and asking her to become his Sekirai. He kisses her, forming their bond. Yukari, shocked, blurts that it was her first kiss, but now connected, Shina unleashes his unstable powers, terrifying the attackers into retreating. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Benitsubasa moves in to finish Minato, but Musubi rises again. Declaring that love must be protected, her body starts to glow and she returns as number 88. Benitsubasa mocks her, but Musubi scolds them for ganging up on the weak and promises to discipline them properly. Benitsubasa and Haihane attack together, but Musubi powers up and fires a beam while holding her huge melons, injuring them both. Tsukumi and Matsu are stunned, with Matsu wondering what kind of attack that was. Haihana, shaken, demands to know who Musubi really is. Musubi steps forward and announces her true identity. Yume, the Sekirai of Fate, head of the disciplinary squad. She scolds the 2 for lacking love, then throws them far away with ease. Yume gently turns to Minato and asks if he truly loves Musubi. She explains it's that love which allowed her to awaken, then fades as she embraces him into her valleys. Tsukiyomi and Kusano snap, demanding she back off. Suddenly, Karasuba appears, recognizing Yume. The 2 exchange tense words. Karasuba starts to attack, but Yume disappears before Karasuba can finish the fight. Musubi regains consciousness, confused, and Minato hugs her in relief. Karasuba declines a fight with Tsukiyomi and walks away. A faraway satellite then launches a laser beam attack towards the bridge. Haruka and Kuno are seen on the other side, safe. Yukari and Shina enjoy the sunrise together. Haruka invites Minato to join them, but Minato declines, saying he still has something only he can do. Kazahana watches from a distance, smiling softly with Uzume. She admits it wasn't overly dramatic, but Minato now seems more like a man in her eyes. Minato and his Sekirayas then return to the villa, relieved that this part of their story has now ended. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons. Hit the bell icon to stay tuned in for the next. Until next time, stay thirsty, my fellas.